the idea of high ROI advertising in a post-cookie world has you scratching your head, then this video is for you. That's because I'm about to introduce to you the concepts, methods, and tools you need to take the illustrious idea of privacy-safe advertising and turn it into a smashing success. For the best data leadership and business building advice, be sure to subscribe to my channel so you'll be first to know when the next episode drops. I'm Lillian Pierson, and I help data professionals transform into world-class data leaders and entrepreneurs. I myself started as a data scientist way back in 2012, and since then, I've gone on to support over 10% of Fortune 100 companies and train 1.5 million data professionals how to do machine learning and AI. Now, it's no news that tracking cookies are in the process of being banned everywhere across the internet. Safari and Firefox were the first to make this bold move, but you can be sure that Google Chrome is following close behind. Now, if you're already using cookies to run advertising, then you know just how huge of a problem this really is, at least for advertisers. In case you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, just know that traditional advertisers use cookies in order to track conversions, so to track whether or not a lead was generated or a sale was made. And without the cookies tracking the action taken on the other side of an ad, there is no way to quantify and measure what type of advertising, if it's working or not working. So it's represented a huge problem for the advertising industry. Why is this all happening? Well, of course, it's because consumers are wanting more and more data privacy. And there's definitely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And we can all be grateful for regulators that are putting into practice privacy laws that help protect our data privacy as internet consumers. So there's GDPR, which is short for the General Data Protection Regulation, and that's Europe's version of data privacy laws. Over in the United States, California has come out with a similar data privacy regulation that they're calling the California Consumer Privacy Act, or CCPA for short. With big players in the global economy coming out with such wide and sweeping data privacy regulations, you can be sure that smaller nations and smaller economies are soon to follow suit. While we can all celebrate because we are in the middle of a transition into a greater level of privacy protection for us as consumers, these rapid changes have been putting a serious damper on the effectiveness of traditional advertising solutions. Consequently, ads buyers are in need of new privacy-safe advertising solutions. In other words, advertising solutions that offer a high ROI, but that do not infringe on the data privacy of internet consumers. Now, I want to touch a little bit more on what is the definition of privacy-safe advertising. Now, there are really a few defining characteristics that we can look at to qualify whether or not an advertising solution is privacy-safe. The first of which is that the advertising solution should not be collecting any form of personal identifiable information, or PII for short. If someone comes to your website and they like your brand enough to actually submit their email address or their phone number in order for you to reach out to them, that doesn't count as collection of PII in this case, because we would call that first-party data. The person who owns that data willingly and knowingly gave that data to your brand because they have some degree of know, like, and trust for what you're doing. On the other hand, if you are using cookies to track PII of your website users without their knowledge or without their express consent, that would not be considered privacy safe. The second characteristic of privacy-safe advertising solutions is that they comply with data privacy regulations. I'm talking about GDPR and CCPA, and actually any other local regulations that your brand would fall under according to the jurisdiction it serves. Without getting into any legal mumbo jumbo, you just want to make sure that your brand is compliant with data privacy laws, right? So now these characteristics are just the minimum bar when it comes to having your brand and advertising solutions qualify as privacy safe. Now that you know what privacy safe is, let's talk about why you really want to start looking at taking a privacy safe approach to your advertising. Undertone and Lucid recently did a survey where they sought to measure consumers' sentiment about advertisements that follow them around the internet. The purpose of the survey was to establish whether consumers really care whether a brand goes the extra mile in terms of protecting the data privacy of their website and their website users and customers. Survey findings? Well, 53% of consumers surveyed said that they actually did strongly prefer brands who went the extra mile and took active measures to protect their data privacy. The fact of the matter is, if you are not updating your data privacy policies as well as your advertising practices so that they better match the expectations of consumers, then you're really putting your brand at risk moving forward. I want to hear from you in the comments below. Tell me, what are your thoughts about advertisers and brands that create advertising that follow you around the internet? Is it a yay or a nay? Now that you fully understand the problem and the context of the problem, I want to introduce some solutions. In all honesty, the only advertising solution that I've seen that checks all of the privacy safe boxes is Undertone's sort technology. Full disclosure, Undertone is sponsoring this educational video on privacy safe advertising, and so it's only fair for me to share a small bit about their products, features, and benefits. Here's what you need to know about Undertone's Sort privacy-safe advertising solution. Sort is the only cookieless targeting solution that allows advertisers to reach their audience in the exact moment that they are most receptive to seeing an ad. Sort uses proprietary machine learning to predict customer mindset in real time based solely on cookieless data signals, and all without browser limitations or the device limitations that traditional advertising solutions are currently facing. Oh, and by the way, Sort is 100% privacy safe. Like I said, it does not use any cookies whatsoever, and it doesn't track any personally identifiable information. It sees only real-time cookieless data signals and never ever collects information about users' past behaviors. What's more, Sort is a scalable advertising platform. Like I said, it doesn't face any of the limitations that advertisers are seeing with traditional advertising solutions in terms of browser limitations or device limitations. That's because Sort is powered by Undertone's full publisher network across all browsers, networks, and ad formats. Another thing you need to know about Sort is that it is data privacy regulation compliant. So of course, it complies with GDPR, CCPA. Sort is even certified for cookieless by Neutronian. So you can rest assured that your advertising solution is complying with all major data privacy regulations. Lastly, Sort is consumer friendly. As I mentioned earlier, Undertone's recent survey indicated that 53% of consumers actually favor brands that protect their personal privacy. And with Sort, you don't have to worry about leaving a bad taste in consumers' mouths by following them around the internet with annoying ads. I also want to mention here the importance of future-proofing your advertising strategy. In 2022, this is definitely the time and place that you need to be putting future-proof advertising strategies into action. And Sort provides brands with an advertising tool that is both effective and scalable, all while respecting the needs and values of consumers. And because of my strong background in data science, I really can't help but take a moment to explain the data science behind privacy-safe advertising. Actually, the data science behind cookieless Yet targeted advertising isn't as complicated as you might think. First, you need to have a network of connected web pages. Then you need to utilize real-time clickstream data that's being generated by users on websites across the network. And you use this real-time clickstream data to build user profiles. Now, these user profiles should represent users based on their intent. And that intent will be predicted from the person's real-time usage of a web page. Now, with enough people engaging on enough websites in the network, you can clearly delineate who's just browsing versus people who are most likely to convert to leads and sales. After building these profiles, all that's really left to do is use those pre-built profiles in order to compare them to individual web page users in order to classify the web page user's intent as either browsing or actually looking to make a purchase. If you're a data scientist, then you understand a lot of this comes back to clustering algorithms and other model types that you can deploy on real-time data in order to analyze all of the user's cookieless attributes in real time. Now, based on the combinations of these attributes, you would then just take the person and match them up against your predefined user profiles. And of course, you're not going to be doing this on a one-by-one manual basis. You would build an algorithm that does this in an automated format that can keep up with the processing requirements of real-time traffic. But of course, the approach is genius. It allows you to predict website users' intentions and serve them the most relevant ad while protecting their personal privacy. Now, if you're liking this video on privacy-safe advertising, then I'm sure you'll love the video I did on how a marketing data scientist started their own business and hit $370,000 in its first 18 months. I'll leave a link to that video in the cards as well as in the description below. We have already gone over a lot about what is privacy-safe advertising and solutions and approaches you can use to meet that bar, but I want to go into further details about SORT and how it's different from traditional advertising solutions. In case you're not familiar with how advertising works, traditional advertising collects personally identifiable information about users' past behaviors in order to cluster them into similar groups by their different interests. Once you know the individual's interest, you can then target them at mass with advertising based on their interests. The problem with this approach to advertising is it infringes on people's data privacy. So it doesn't give them the ability to say, hey, I don't want you to track my internet usage and keep my personal information on file for advertisers to buy and sell amongst one another. Now, SORT comes along with a privacy-safe advertising solution. And this solution is really completely different than any other type of traditional advertising solution. As I described earlier with how you would actually build a data science solution to do privacy-safe advertising, SORT deploys a massive machine learning model on millions and millions of data points, creates combinations of those data points, and then uses all of that information to create cookieless targeting groups. These groups consist of people that think and react to ads in a similar way. I want to go a little bit more into the features and benefits of SORT real quick. SORT is huge on inclusivity. SORT has an inclusive approach to targeting to identify more of your audience with no predetermined bias. There's also its scalability. Unlike other targeting solutions, SORT has no scale limitations, and it's fully accessible across all of Undertone's publishing network. And as I said earlier, all browsers, devices, and formats. SORT does its targeting based on real-time data. It predicts a user's mindset in the exact moment that the user lands on a web page in Undertone's network without using any historical data on past behaviors. SORT is privacy compliant, it doesn't collect any PII, and it adheres to all industry regulations. SORT is really easy to activate. It's available with direct and programmatic guarantee with no opt-ins required by the advertiser, consumer, or publisher. Another thing you need to know about Sort is not only is it high privacy, but it's high performance. In fact, Sort outperforms traditional cookie-based methods across all high-impact formats and verticals, up to 2 times. In other words, it's up to twice as effective as traditional advertising approaches on all high-impact areas. The truth of the matter is, with privacy-safe advertising solutions like Sort, everyone wins. Advertisers love it, of course, because it's providing both privacy and performance. And consumers love it because they know that their privacy is protected. How do they know that? Well, Sort handles this identification aspect by placing a little shield on all of the advertisements that run across the Sort network. The shield stands for privacy-safe advertising, and consumers are actually starting to favor ads that have this little shield. In fact, here's what it looks like. So now when you see an ad with that shield, you can know exactly what's happening behind the scenes and how much thought and effort has gone into protecting your personal privacy. Hey, if you're really liking this video on privacy-safe advertising and the data science that supports it, then I want to encourage you to check out Sort's website as well as their case studies, and maybe even shoot them an email. What I'll do is I will leave a link to their website and some of their case studies, as well as an email address you can use to reach out to them. I'll leave that in the description below so that you can check that out after this video. Hey, and if you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you would show it some love by giving it a thumbs up and leave a comment that lets me know that you actually made it to the end of this video by writing, "I made it," in the comments below. I promise I will reply to you. Also, I'd love it if you'd support our channel by subscribing, and that way you will also be first to know when the next episode drops. Till next time.